let's keep it rocking and rolling. Let's turn our attention to Florida State and Louisville. Woo! This is in the Jeff Brom roller coaster. The Jeff Brom roller coaster theory says that you're going to get the best out of the cards. But do you think that you are going to get the best out of the cards? And if so, what would be, let's do some research, some opposition research. What would be Louisville's best game plan to try to beat Florida State?
Well, I don't know if Plummer's amazing, but he's one of the best quarterbacks that FSU's faced this year.
Whoa, so hold on. You keep talking. I got to check this.
Think about this. I've thought about this a little bit. FSU plays a lot of man coverage, and Louisville can exploit that at times. I think Jeff Brom is, an awesome offensive coach, and I think they'll probably, try and most likely be able to scheme some stuff up. Louisville offensive line has been sort of a mixed bag this year at times. FSU's probably the best D-line that they're going to face. So, those guys on FSU's defensive line seem to be hitting their stride. They're really ripping, Verse and Peyton and Lovett and Farmer and Fisk and those dudes. So, but I think Louisville can probably move the ball and score some, honestly. And a lot of it's going to come down, and this seems simplistic, to FSU's offense, right? With, Tate Rodemaker in there playing. Guys, we said this on the instant, 250 yards against UF. They didn't even get there. That's a terrible UF defense. So if FSU plays like it played against Florida, it will lose. DK, let me ask you this. Do you think if Louisville had beaten Kentucky that this game's pick or Louisville won? How much?
No, I think Louisville
it was 7. Wasn't it 6.5? I think before rivalry weekend, I think Florida State was 6.5, right?
Oh, and then everybody got to see Rodemaker, and now that's a 3-point adjustment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Louisville would beat Kentucky, I think there's a very good chance it's favored right now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Based on if Florida State did exactly what they did, and you saw Rodemaker struggle the first half. I agree with Bud saying I think you're going to need a lot of points. I do think it was, and I think Rodemaker struggled in the first half with speed, just speed of game, everything, speed of the pass rush. We mentioned this, we're live, you're not used to getting hit. You're I can make this throw, and you got guys whizzing by you because they can't hit you. Well, all of a sudden they're hitting you and you're live. It's and he got crushed a couple of times. I thought that was exactly what happened. Then talked about his quarterback slide. If you're going to slide, you need to let him know. And he's kind of going up high. I still thought it was a dirty hit, but he didn't do himself any favors by not, leaving that extra step to go ahead and get down. If not getting a first down or, touchdown, protect yourself. But those are all things that you can't get in a practice where there's not full contact. But I also thought he did a better job settling into the game. I do think, again, it's very, common cliches. I think you got to have Trey Benson carry a majority of the workload. Can you get him running? Because this offense is, even when Jordan was doing it, it is a run-based offense. They want to be physical, and their best offensive performances, I think, are when Benson gets going. And he's kind of juggernaut that has to be there. And what we didn't really see from Rodemaker, we saw a little bit of run game, and I still think he's athletic. I still think he can run. Maybe they want to work a little bit of that in as well. But I think they're going to have to score points too. I'm with Bud. Thrash is pretty dynamic at receiver. The backs and Brom is he'll do some concepts that'll make you uncomfortable. He's going to have some man beaters that, Bud's talking about, some guys crossing routes where they're pretty easy throws. And he'll have some deep, he's going to come up with some concepts that'll put up some points. And then, or maybe it's just big plays. That's where Florida State has been susceptible to bigger plays that are touchdowns. It's not the worst to give up a 20-yard gain. Just don't give up the 40-yard touchdown.
Yeah, the things I'm looking for in this game, and you touched on a little bit with Rodemaker there, especially early in the Florida game, things were moving really quick for him. And you see that a lot. And that, you have Jordan Travis, who's been playing quarterback for 70 years at this point, who's very experienced. He's very mobile. He understands how to move around in the pocket, how to buy himself time. He just, he's never really rattled. And then you come in with a kid who has not played a ton, is not used to it, and is in a very pressure-packed situation last week. And he struggled. The game was really fast for him, and he was holding on to the ball too damn long a lot of the time. And that is going to be a problem if he does that again this week, because Louisville's got one of the most the better pass rushes in the country as far as pressure rate. They put a lot of pressure on you. And if he's standing in there and he's indecisive, he's going to get pushed into either making mistakes or he's going to get sacked and lose yards and put yourself in 3rd and long situations, which you really will not want with Tate Rodemaker. You'd rather have Travis, obviously. So that's going to be key. Can we get him to be comfortable in getting the ball out to the very good receivers that he has and just rely on his playmakers? Can you use Trey Benson to slow down that pass rush? So that, I think, is going to be Florida State's approach. On the other side, Bud, you mentioned it, Florida State runs a lot of man. I saw Jeff Brom last year against Illinois, which is a defense that ran a lot of man. And the entire philosophy behind it is, at this level, we're not facing a ton of quarterbacks who can really beat this. Like, if we get pressure, our guys can cover long enough to cover it because these guys can't get through reads like that. Jeff Brom against Illinois last year just dialed some stuff up and made Illinois' defense look like Swiss cheese for the most part in that game. And that is something that would concern me about Brom. But on the other side, is Jack Plummer going to be able to make those throws? Because Jack has his good moments and he has his bad moments. He also has, Jamari Thrash. He has good weapons around it. And the other thing Purdue did in that game was they were able to run the ball with Mockabee. Can Jawar Jordan find space to move the ball to kind of slow down Florida State's pass rush to help, give them more time there? So it is going to be a very interesting battle, I think, between Norvell and Brom, in that we've got to find ways to make Rodemaker comfortable. We've got to make it easy for him, but we also can't make it so easy that it becomes easy for Louisville to stop. And it's going to be whether or not Brom can scheme up stuff to take advantage of what Florida State likes to do defensively.
There also is this. Good, Ed.
I was just going to say with Rodemaker, I thought, he had the safety, which you could argue is a pretty bad mistake, but he didn't have the big, other than that, he didn't throw the big pick six. He didn't the turnovers. He was pretty good with the football, and even the safety, it's better than a pick six. Right. And then early, this has happened at times with Jordan Travis where he struggled. Go back to the LSU game, week 1, the Florida State offense was struggling. Florida State's defense got several, 4th down stands, goal line stands. So that might be necessary again, in this type of game. Can you get that red zone, 4th down stop, goal line stand, and then can Rodemaker avoid that critical big mistake? Even I think Herbstreit was talking about it throughout the 4th quarter. He's like, it just feels like who's going to make that big mistake,
There is some chance that Louisville's defense is not as good as its numbers. I've been looking at this a little bit, and last 3 weeks,
yeah, they haven't been great.
Kentucky 6.2 yards a play, Miami 7.5, UVA 6.4. Those are not explosive offenses that you're facing, and you're giving up quite a few points and yards, more yards for UVA than points. But they all move the ball on you, and then I think prior to that, Vatek, which really can't throw, Duke, which was on QB3 again, I believe, right?
Hold up. Virginia and Kentucky were at home, too. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
You were playing at home. That's supposed to be you get the early stop, you force them into 3rd and long. The artist formerly known as the Big Pizza Box starts rocking, and then you're able to take those pass rushers. And Louisville does have good pass rushers, and you can just pin their ears back in a 3rd and long scenario and let them go. But no, I think the Virginia and Kentucky performances, and look, special teams also factored into Kentucky's 38 points there. But I think that's absolutely a fair concern. If I'm a Louisville fan, I am really hoping that my defense has gotten in the lab, gotten healthy, done whatever they need to do to be able to clean it up. Because if Louisville's defense plays the way it has in the final 3 games of the regular season, it will not win against Florida State.
It's one of the beauties of college football, or at least one of the things we have to acknowledge and appreciate. Let's just embrace it. Sometimes you get a team that has faced a bunch of opponents and their numbers are more about the opponents, right? Pitt, Duke without both quarterbacks, Notre Dame, NC. We watched that NC State game. That was a Thursday or Friday night ball game. NC State's offense was disaster area at that point. Boston College, 6 yards a play, Indiana, 5.9 yards a play, Georgia Tech, 7 yards a play. People have moved it on them. I think they have some players, and I think that they know what they're doing defensively. The defense doesn't suck, but I kind of think both sides will find a way to score points on each other. These are 2 head coaches I very rarely bet unders on.
Yeah. All right. Mike Norvell and Jeff Brom. Let's see. Let's pull up
some unders.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm with you there.